This is First and 15th. We talk about inspiration, motivation, life-changing moments, and conquering fears. Twice a month, we have amazing guests popping through. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
So we are set.
Hey, girl, hey.
That is my phrase too. I mean, hey, it's Carol, but yes, I do use the phrase, hey girl, hey a lot. I'm like, should I be using that because I'm 41 years old? I don't know. But
It was one of the phrases that made it from 2022 to 2023. Some of them didn't make it, but hey.
Actually, just my volume. Okay. So can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Okay, you look wonderful. So we have a few folks who have waved and joined, and so we're going to jump right in if you're ready, Jonna.
Let's do it.
Yes. So, hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of First and 15th with Carol Bush. I am your host, obviously, Carol Bush, and we are joined today with the lovely Jonna of Savor the City. So, Jonna, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what is Savor the City DMV?
Sure. Well, first, thanks, Carol, for having me on. I really appreciate it. So, again, I am Jonna. In some communities, some people call me Joe, some people call me Jay. Jonna is not a very common name, and it gets mispronounced quite a bit. So depending on where you are on the map, you might be calling me something different. But City is essentially the brainchild of actually a lot of other people in my life who kind of felt like when it came to doing things and going places, they always felt like I was the plug. And I know every single weekend it seemed like, my brother would call me and he would like want to have places to take his wife, or my girlfriends would call me and they want to go out and they want to know places to go, either to eat or to drink or to have a good time, something around the city. And so a lot of people were encouraging me to do it for a while, especially back in like 2018, 2019. And I really sat on the idea of it. But, during 2019, 2020, we kind of saw that boom of like a lot of, I guess you would say like everyday people doing like food, drink, blogging and vlogging. And so then when I saw that, I was just like, look, everybody's doing it now. Now I kind of made the excuse like there's no space for me to do this. And, I'm not going to be any different than anybody else. But with a lot of push from people in my life, they really encouraged me just to kind of just dabble in it, just give it a try and see. So that's how it kind of started.
Wonderful. So that actually makes me want to find out, how did they consider you the plug? So like they could have asked, their friends, obviously they're friends. They could have asked, a neighbor,
Right.
cousin. So then why were you, Jonna, the DMV food and drink plug? Because I'm gonna get it.
It's funny too because you would think because they think that I'm the plug that I'm out all the time.
Right.
The ironic thing is, if you know me very well, like 80% of the time, I'm like at a coffee shop with a book or on my couch with the cat. Like, I'm not out like people think that I am. But when I do go out, I really enjoy kind of being in the present moment and just having good experiences, So I don't want to like tolerate, losing out on time or money, things that are sort of like subpar. So I'm always kind of like seeking out, kind of things that I would really enjoy and the people that spend time with me would enjoy. And my brother told me this. He actually said, during part of the time he was harassing me to start this, my brother had called me one day and his coworker had some friends in town, and his coworker was like, yeah, I want to try DC wings with mumbo sauce. So my brother called late one Friday night. He's like, yo, sis, I need a favor. I need you to tell me a few wing and mumbo sauce places. I'm like, okay. 15 minutes, I'm back with like a spreadsheet of like
An actual list? Okay, so was your list written down, or was it just like a text response?
Yeah, I mean, I'm being facetious when I say
Because I
spreadsheet.
was like, this should be
No,
a list in Excel. I'm like, I don't know, you could mean that.
no, I'm being facetious when I say that.
Okay, good.
I just legit was just kind of thinking of like the difference between going to, like, for instance, with just that scenario, like, okay, do you want the gentrified chicken with mumbo sauce? Do you want to go to, a traditional DC carryout where,
Mm-hmm.
I want to make double lock your car, but
Eddie
you know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah.
do you want? And then I was telling them, like, explaining that when you order, you got to do, you got tea, like here in DC,
Right.
we call it half and half. Everywhere
Yeah.
else in the world, like Arnold Palmer,
Mm-hmm.
here is, tea half and half or triple mix. Like, so I gotta break
Right.
down the,
You got to break it down,
right.
folks. We actually have a few comments so far. Okay, so comments about how mambo sauce is fabulous. Mambo sauce, is I wasn't got the bomb in the comments, but
Right.
mambo sauce knows all that. And also a comment from Flo Shine Soy. Yeah, well, from Flo, I'll say that the list is in her brain.
Legit. There's no spreadsheet. This is the
Right.
spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet is right here in your noggin, Jonna.
And it's just really about vibes and like energy. And I think like that's something, like, for me, I feel like people are strength for me. So understanding and having empathy for people helps me to understand what they like, what they don't like, what their vibes are. And so experiencing different vibes and not limiting myself to only doing certain things helps me to be kind of different kind of people who would like different kind of things and kind of give them the right advice and point them in the right way.
Yes, I absolutely love that you don't just stick with one genre of food. And so, so you've talked about how you came up with Savor the City DMV. And so when you started this back in about 2019, 2020, because you were actually sitting on the idea for some time. But do you have so go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I actually, believe it or not, I just started 7 months ago. So, no, I sat on forever. Actually, I started June 4th of 2022. So I've just been in this, area for about 7 months now. Yeah.
Well, you are definitely, I think, making a movement because you have folks who are in the DMV who are on this live. There are folks who are not in the DMV who want to come and try some new eats. So now that you have clarified that you started maybe about 7 months ago. Okay, so when you got this started, I'm like actually like launch opposed to just sitting on the idea for a couple of years. Did you have goals of your what should I say of your project? I'll say like taking off the way it is, and as far as getting the kind of support and love from all kinds of restaurants in the area.
Wow. I had no idea. To be honest with you, like I thought like my brother, his wife, like my friends, my close friends, like I thought it was just like 5 of my friends, like, girl, that's cute. We gonna go there. We want to go here, girl. Like I literally just thought it was gonna be a thing where just like my friends and my family just were kind of like, oh, we'll support your, passion project. I did not expect to start sort of gaining, sort of a little bit of a local following, and then also
I love it.
so many people, so many wonderful people, so many wonderful businesses, and to have some like really great experiences.
And I'm actually going to pin this one comment that is from TJ10. So you are very consistent. The path you walk through is movement of success.
Wow.
So I'm going to try to pin that comment. And if I can't, TJ, I apologize. But that's a really, really great comment that I think really speaks volumes to what you were doing, because you didn't start this out, to gain this following. Like, you did it for your family and friends. We've talked about some of the challenges so far of Savor the City, but one thing that comes to mind is it's not really a challenge so much, but it's more about how do you have you had restaurants who maybe have not wanted to be featured in Savor the City, and then how did you handle that?
Yeah. For the most part, a lot of local restaurants and small businesses in general, small businesses are very much have a lot of day-to-day challenges, right? So, and they are sort of like the backbone of the economy, but they really grind. I've met so
Yeah.
many people in starting this, and heard so many small businesses that had basically put their whole entire life and everything that their family had into their businesses just to lose it, or become close to losing it during the pandemic. And so a lot of them are actually really open to being able to highlight what they do and seeing it online. Now, in every industry, of course, you're going to have people who are, not kind, who are rude or not thoughtful. Those actually don't stand out too much in my mind. I kind of move forward. And to be honest, a good friend gave me advice when I had my first very bad experience. She said, Jonna, think about it. We went to that restaurant twice and we had 2 bad experiences. She said, is that content that you want to share with your followers? Because if you, and they go there and they have the same experiences you do, how's that going to support your credibility in saying, hey guys, I recommend this? And so that really kind of stuck out to me. So I would say working with restaurants hasn't really been a challenge. I think that the bigger challenge for me in starting off, to be honest, was myself.
Okay.
And as women of color, we sometimes suffer from that ever-present imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And again, like I mentioned, I just was kind of like, there's no space for me. I'm not different. Everybody else is doing it. What difference is it going to make if I start doing this? Only my friends and family are going to support me. Only my friends and family are going to want to see this content. But I think that knowing that I was the one who was in my way has helped me kind of push through a little bit, and really kind of like focus not just on skills, but also knowing that I have talent and I have passion, I have strengths. Actually, we got Flo Shines on. She actually, shout out to Flo, because she actually is a strength coach. And one of the things that we identified was that empathy, individualization, ideation, so ideas, they just pour out of me. And I love people. And as she would always say, I'm a connector. I connect people. And so once I realizing those things, it became less about being pretentious, like, oh, look at this fancy restaurant where I'm going. It was more about me being able to highlight people that I see, seeing the great things in other businesses, seeing the great things that and things that other people were doing. And because of that, I feel so much more passionate about that than I really do food and drink or events.
I love that. And so let me just give folks a quick recap. We are on with the lovely Jonna, also known as Jo for those who are close to her, and we are talking about her project, Savor the City DMV. And so you are a whole vibe. That is the theme that I'm seeing through these comments. Now, I'm going to actually get off track a little bit, because you reminded me earlier this month how we actually met. And so I was like, wow, I had no idea that that's how we met. And so you really gave me like a whole flashback to, we had like an instant connection. I love that. So I want to actually, I want to go back to my questions. Okay, so what have been some of the highlights so far of Savor the City? So I'm touched on a few, but do you have like a
Oh,
few that like really stand out?
yeah.
Whether it's like a certain genre or a certain experience?
Yes. Yes. So, one thing that I will say, like, I'm gonna say this one first because this probably has had the greatest impact on me recently. Is that I sort of have been introduced to the Haitian community in
Okay.
the DMV, which is just such a beautiful, warm, resilient, loving community, and they're so rich in culture. And once you try Haitian food, like I literally am up and down 495 like a whole theme. Like you don't understand. Like I had special delivery of Haitian patties to me last week, like under the table type stuff. Don't nobody try to ask my plug because you're not getting my patty plug. I'm keeping my patty
They
plug.
are just
But
right.
yeah, yeah. But Haitian food has been like I it is so underrated as Caribbean food,
Mhm.
because a lot of people who steer away from Caribbean food don't eat it because of spice, of being too spicy.
Yeah. Mhm.
But even though there are spicy dishes or it can be spicy, everything in Haitian food is just all about flavor. And I just
Mhm.
like I love it, and I've just been introduced to so much in that community. And what's interesting is that another highlight actually is an extension of that is because prior to even starting Savor the City, I had been introduced to the very vast dance community in DC, which is huge.
Yeah.
And I kind of started off with Latin dancing, which sort of transitions
Mhm.
me into Haitian dancing, which I love as well. And so I realized when I'm kind of talking about Savor that it's less about food and drink. One of the
Right.
things I love about DC, and I know Carol, you can appreciate this, what we have better than like most places in the US, we have so much culture.
Yeah.
We have so much culture, and it's so inviting and it's so beautiful here in DC. And so because of that, I find like the content that I do is really at the intersection of that because culture is a lot of things. But some of the things I love about culture is food, is
Mhm.
dance, is music,
Yes, the
So
energy, the vibes of the whole DC area. So whether you're in Alexandria, or whether you're in Capitol Heights, whether you're in Southeast, Northeast, Northwest, or Southwest, there is just so much culture in the whole compact area of, of, of the DMV.
yeah, you'd be so surprised, if you just, drive 10, 15 minutes out,
Mhm.
I probably I rarely eat American food these
Okay.
days because there's so much
Yeah.
here, and it is a really great place area if you like to try Asian cuisine, particularly Korean. So there are a
Okay.
lot of Korean curries, Korean barbecue, which
Yeah.
I was sort of I don't know about
My husband
that.
it's a humongous thing because I'm like Korean barbecue. Let me give it a try for years ago. I'm like, okay, this is not what I thought. It's really good.
Yes, yeah. So before I pivot to probably my number one meal of
Uh-huh.
2022, let me give a shout out to two amazing Haitian restaurants in Silver Spring, Maryland. So there's
Mhm.
Port-au-Prince in Silver Spring,
Mhm.
Maryland, and there's Chef Domberto, and then there's Giselle's Creole Restaurant in Wheaton, Maryland, and their owner is Jose. And those are two wonderful, wonderful Haitian establishments that I love. I'm addicted to their food. So if you see this live or if
Yeah,
you see this on
yes, we
replay,
will put it
try Haitian.
in the recap.
I
Yes, we would definitely have these restaurants listed.
yeah,
Definitely for sure.
that ASAP. Your next step is Korean barbecue out of Annandale. Try any Korean barbecue place. It's a really amazing experience and it's very good, very fresh. And then my favorite meal of 2022, hands
Mhm.
down, was a meal that I did with a blogger. Another shout out to Atlanta Eats out of the ATL. Came here for store, and we, we laid out the city hospitality for him, and we went to oh my goodness, why am I having this this brain part? Moon Rabbit, Rabbit in at the Wharf, which is a Creole Vietnamese mix. Sounds crazy.
Did you just say Greek and Vietnamese? Is that what you just said? Okay.
Creole Vietnamese. I don't even care. I didn't care for Vietnamese food, but let me tell you, everything about this meal, from the cocktails to the ambiance, the food was amazing. And Atlanta Eats and I, we are a true, and I see Dreamy Eats Worldwide is on. Shout out to her as well.
Yes. She had a couple of comments I want to actually share. So we are definitely spoiled with the food culture.
We are for the food. We're for the food. We are not for the, the glitz and the gram and the IG posts and the pictures. Like, these are two foodies that are definitely about the food. And Moon Rabbit is excellent. I encourage you to try the cornbread there. Somebody's in the back cooking that. And then they also have a delicious platter that has steak, grilled pork, and shrimp that is just amazing. That
sounds really good.
And you can actually get a whole fried chicken there. When I say whole fried chicken, it's an
fried chicken.
Fried chicken. So there's just some amazing dishes there, and it's an experience. So I would say that was probably one of my highlights for the year. And then again, kind of being introduced to Haitian food and Haitian culture.
Awesome. I love that. So you definitely have your genres. They are definitely spread about. Like you were saying a little while ago, you really enjoy trying foods that are not American food, because that isn't going anywhere. But there are so many restaurants in the DC area as well. And so we touched on you being a connector, but I want to go deeper into that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, so then how did you find yourself being a connector? Because that's a term that is quite unique in terms of like what someone would actually see their role as.
Yeah. Karal, I know you can probably appreciate this because we both have worked in human services for many years. And so because of that, I think in my professional career, I've always had to use those strengths of individualization and empathy and being able to connect individuals to resources, connecting organizations to resources. And I even remember when I was working locally in DC with the homeless community years ago, like I would walk down the street and people would like know me. My coworkers would be like, "Oh, that's the Sir Some Quarter Honey." She knows everything. And even though I wasn't like a direct service worker, it was because I would take the time on my way to the metro or, lunch, and I would meet people or know their life story or know their family, or what's going on in their life. And so because of that, I always find that empathy drives me to, in that kind of work, drives me to want to find solutions. It would always drive me to want to find an answer or find a connection, something that would improve for them, right? And that's on a human services level for work, And so that was something I was always passionate about. So when I moved to, and you know this well, friend, the career path sort of that we are now, away from policy and programming and helping people directly, and sort of, you love this, but sort of less creative for me on the acquisition project management side. Left brain.
Because I am back in that role, and I agree with you 100%. That we're good at that, but that's not what drives us. So I definitely agree with you. That sometimes we can't always do our actual passion. Like at our day to day. So like I'm still in that realm, but just with the acquisitions, but not touching those projects. So I definitely understand what you mean 100%, Jonna, on that.
Yes. So it kind of like shuts down the creative side a little bit. And so Um, when it comes to this, I'll be honest, a lot of the things that have happened over the course of these 7 months with Savor, they weren't planned, Carol. Like, I'm a whole project manager, and I was not planning any of this. A lot of it came down to like genuine, authentic connections that were just made being out and about and kind of seeing those moving pieces, seeing people see what is great in them, and just wanting to highlight that and bring that to, bring that forward to other people and share it with others.
Jonna, you have actually spoken on the exact reason why I have this show, just to highlight folks who are just doing really, really cool things, so whether they're in the DC area or not, because people are not just their actual job or career. We are so much more than, say, working for the government or for a nonprofit, that kind of thing. And so I'm really, really grateful that you and I have this connection, and like we both want to help people and see them win.
Yeah.
So I am definitely so happy for you with Savor the City DMV. But I do want to ask one more question before we wrap this up.
Sure.
If there is someone who is wanting to, actually, a question. Okay, so if there's someone who wants to get into blogging or something of that nature, but doesn't have the experience, what are some tips that you would give that person? So whether it's the food blogging, whether it's cars or sports or any other kind of act like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say, I go back to the conversation that I had about strengths, because I started off really for the wrong reasons. I started off because everyone around me was telling me that this was my passion, that this is strength, that this is what I should be doing. And the truth is, I'm not that passionate about food and drink. In fact, doing this, I have to like really put aside time to go out without recording content and without thinking. I have to be very conscious of just trying to be out with friends and enjoy a meal, But then when I started, then I realized that wasn't really my passion. I didn't even I wasn't aware of my strengths. And again, I go back to give a shout out to Flo Shines Oils, Flo, because again, she's a strengths coach, and she helped me identify some of what my strengths were. And when I started to kind of crank that in my brain, and I'm still chewing on it, I'm still working on it, I realized that it was those things that I mentioned. It was empathy, it was ideas, it was seeing individuals and being like, you are special because of this reason. I see this in you. I see how talented you are. I see, how much strength you have, or how creative you are. When you see those things in people, it just, because of my strength, it makes me want to create platforms and opportunities for those people to shine, because I love to see it.
And a bell, I would say, ring that bell for Phil, because we are on the same page, 100%, right? You and me, Jonna, for real.
And what I'm gonna say is, don't fall back on what other people think are your strengths and what your talents and your abilities are. They may have some insight, but it's limited insight. Kind of learn what yours are, and it may change slightly. It may be even different than what you think it is, because mine, what I thought they were, and I'm still learning. So I would say that. And then also, don't think that you have to go in being perfect. You're not starting off with 10,000 followers, which means that you have been doing this for 5 years. It's not going to look the same as the person who started 5 years ago and who built those skills. So take time to learn those skills, but also just find out what your why is, stick to that, do what aligns with your values, and find what your strengths are, because that's where you will shine, and you won't have to worry about anybody else's lane. You will be in yours.
I love that. And so that can be applied to anyone, whether you are trying to get into vlogging or blogging or any other kind of non-full-time career kind of project. But I do want to talk about one of your videos, and I forgot what restaurant it is. But okay, so you make the most expressive faces, and that's not a bad thing at all. To me, it's a great thing because it shows how you're feeling. But there's this one video. I don't know whether it was last year, maybe it was earlier this year, but you have some music playing in the video, but you're obviously telling us to like come on in, and come on in. And so like that video is my favorite because of the energy, the vibe. You just welcoming us into your world, and I love that about you, Jonna.
Thank you so much. I will say, I think I know the video you're talking about, and that actually is a video for the Museum of, oh goodness, why is my mind, this after, so, you know, the mind shut down like around 7, the Museum of Illusions.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that was a very exciting museum and experience. And then I had people contact me and say, hey, I went to that museum. I loved it. It looks like
all because of you.
Yeah. And I had other people DM me all the time, hey, I went to that restaurant, or I see people post, or other people tell me people post they've gone to places. So, but back to my face. Okay, like I try to keep it here with my voice and talk to people, but my face, it really needs assistance because my face is
don't say that. You are showing how you feel. So like whether it's a good drink, whether it's maybe something spicy, maybe we're like, ooh, I don't know. But your face that is one of your trademarks in a good way for your video, Jonna.
Well, I'm glad that you said that to me, because one of the things that I knew when I started, and this is why I also would just give advice to give yourself room to grow and pivot, is that, Karal, when I started this, I said, by no means do I ever want to physically be in my content. You are not going to see me. You are not going to see
that's interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to have faceless content. I wanted it to be about the content. And I think one time, just because of circumstances, I was in the content, and it seemed to do so much better than in terms
it's authentic.
Social media, you know, as social media success, if you will, or metrics. And you know, a friend just told me it's because it's the person behind the personality, and we get to see not just what it is that you're showing us, but we get to see a piece of you. And so so I'm learning to get comfortable with it. So you know, when you start, there are going to be things that you have to learn to get comfortable with.
Well, I must say, I totally love your energy of your videos, your vibe, your welcoming. Come on in, let's check it out together, nature. So whatever you do, please like keep those things going. But I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, Jonna, so much. And so I know, you know, we did go a bit over, but I don't care because we got so much out. And so I did not want to rush it or to say, okay, hey, Jonna, what did you find? We're done now. That's not how I flow it. Like if things start going, we're going to keep on talking.
We was going that time limit anyway. So here's Darren. Thank you for the platform and amazing platform and much success on it.
Thank you. And so we are going to wrap up with Jonna of Savor the City DMV. And so for those of y'all just joining us or watching this on the replay on Instagram or YouTube, Jonna is the founder of Savor the City DMV, which has been around officially since last year, 2022. And she is giving us insight onto all kinds of restaurants of various genres. So make sure that you check her out and follow her. We Savor the City DMV on Instagram. So thank you again, Jonna, for joining us. And we'll see y'all next time on March 1st for a new episode and new guests.